Okay guys, in this video I'm going to walk you through our true profits tracking form. The purpose of this form is to break down all of the expenses, marketing costs, sales costs, production costs of your business and show you job by job what you're making and what your true profits that you should actually be taking out of the bank and putting into your pocket actually are. So after this is definitely our most complex form, but when you learn how to use it and you implement it into your business, you'll never have a cash flow issue ever again. So just follow along, and if you have any questions, again, follow up with me via email following this tutorial. So let's jump right in. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and let's see. So typically, you'll see, if you guys can see my mouse, follow along with the mouse here. I have this zoomed out, and it's quite a bit to look at first. So what you're looking at is a Microsoft Excel file that is going to break down all the expenses of your business. And we'll break it down piece by piece for you guys. So there's usually two types of businesses or two types of structures that a painting company will structure their business as when it's formed, and that's either a sole proprietorship or LLC down here. So we have a form for that, for tracking your costs, or if you're an S Corp, we have a form for that also. The only difference between these two forms are how it generates taxes. When you are a sole proprietorship or LLC, you'll have one additional tax, which you guys probably know about if you are a sole prop or LLC, which is self-employment tax, column T. So that's something that doesn't exist in the S Corp form. You'll see that only sales tax exists in this form. So I'm just going to use the S Corp form for this tutorial, and you really don't have to worry about that at all if you are a sole proprietorship or LLC, because all of the yellow cells on both of these forms are self-generating, which means you only plug in information in the cells that I'm going to show you today, which are, majority of them are just white cells. So the way that these forms look, there will be a section up here at the top, column A, that lists the day of the month. So you'll want to start a new form each month to track your costs. And you'll want to fill this in each and every single time that each and every single day, every time that you sell a job or that you finish a job. Columns B through E are for sales. So any sales that you take in, if you have a salesperson, they'll be inputting the information in those 4 columns. Columns F through L or M are for production, if you have a production manager or project manager or a foreman on the job site who's going to be tracking all of the information that actually happens during the job. And then N through P, you're going to be either tracking your own marketing costs, or if you have a marketing manager, he'll be inputting this information, or if your salesperson is responsible for marketing also, they'll be inputting this information. Overhead is something that you'll be figuring out yourself, which is the way that this form is set up is going to be really easy to do. And then the last 3 columns here for overhead, taxes, and then profit on the job, those are all self-generating. So you just have to fill in all the white cells for each job. So that is the true profits form. And there's a little additional section down here at the bottom, which is going to show you all of your overhead costs. So this section of the form right here is actually really easy to use. Again, you're going to only be filling in the white cells, and everything else is going to auto-generate. So I want to zoom in a little bit here with you guys so you'll actually be able to see what I'm talking about, but I wanted you to be able to see the form from a little bit further back so it didn't look like so much to look at. So let's jump into our view here and go to 100%. So now this is your business expenses. Column A here down at the bottom is going to be your overhead cost, the name of it. So we've just listed some typical ones that exist in our business: bookkeeper, the draw that we take for our own living expenses, home advisor, and other lead services. You'll notice how this is grayed out across the board. So if you use home advisor, if you use other lead services, please make sure that you don't switch this around. These other ones you can change the name of. to anything that you would like. But for Home Advisor and for your Home Advisor and your other lead services, make sure that you just leave this the same. Okay, so basically you're going to want to figure out what your bills are every month for your bookkeeper. So let's just say your bookkeeper costs you $200 a month. Your draw for living expenses monthly, let's say you take out $2,000 out of your business every month to pay your living expenses. You write yourself a check. Your Home Advisor budget is, let's say, $750. Your sales budget, which could mean if you have a sales team, you allow them so much money for gas for their vehicles, or you allow them so much money for business cards, whatever that might be. Let's say you allow them $50 a month. And your production budget, $50 a month. Your marketing budget, other than Home Advisor, so this may look like flyers or, again, business cards for the marketing department or some other type of marketing expense online. Whatever it might be, let's just say that you have a budget for that also, that you typically spend $100 a month. So there's a little bit of legwork to do with your overhead expenses here. Your website, let's say that costs you $20 a month. Phones cost you $300 a month. Office costs you $500 a month. Workman's compensation, I don't know what that might cost you guys. Let's just say you pay that at the end of the year, but if you were to break it down month by month, you end up paying $1,050 a month. Liability insurance, $350 a month. Home improvement contractor, if you broke that down, let's say it only costs you like $3 a month because it's really cheap. You pay for it at the end of the year to renew it. And CBT tax. So that's something you'll have to speak with your accountant about and just get a number there. So if you are an S Corp, a tax that you're going to be paying in place of self-employment tax is CBT tax. My business is structured as an S Corp because CBT tax for us for a whole year is $1,125, which is way cheaper than the self-employment tax. So I'm not here to give you guys accounting advice. I'm here to show you how to use this form. And I'm here to also hopefully make your expenses much clearer for you guys. So what this form actually is showing you, other than you inputting your monthly expenses in column D, it's going to show you what your bookkeeper costs you annually. It's going to show you what your bookkeeper costs you. This is your bookkeeper column right here. It's going to show you the annual expense right here for your bookkeeper, the monthly expense which you input, the weekly and daily expense. So it's pretty cool to actually see how much it costs you every day for your bookkeeper, every week, every month, and every year. And that goes for all of your expenses that you put into this form. The last thing on the expense form down here, you'll notice, again, this is another one that you can't move. You'll notice how it's grayed out here, is payroll tax. So you don't want to move that, and you don't want to move Home Advisor or lead services. So payroll tax, you'll actually input a weekly amount. So you'll go to this column. It's the only one that you're going to input weekly, so you'll have to update this form at the end of the week as far as how much payroll tax it's been costing you roughly on a weekly basis. So let's just say payroll tax for all of your employees is roughly $350 a week, and that is going to give you your price there. So the way that is going to work is that all the numbers down at the bottom here, or what it's going to show you also is the numbers down at the bottom here. This is what it costs you to be in business every month, this box here. This is what it costs you to be in business every week, every day, and annually. So that's all of your overhead expenses. And once you input that, up here on the top, not in the sales section, which is here again, and not in the production section, which is the next yellow area here, all the way from F to M, not in that section, and not in the red marketing section, but all the way over in R, which is your daily total for overhead. This number here, $255.29, is what it costs you to be in business every single day. So remember that number, $255.29, because you're going to see it again in a second here when we go back down to the expense form, which is right here. So you'll see that that's what it costs you to be in business every day, and that is going to be one of the numbers that we're working with in order to determine your profit out of each and every single job to let you have the correct amount of money in the bank to always pay your bills and never stress out about what's actually going on with your finances in your business. So that's the first step. You're going to want to fill out that section. The second step after you have that filled out is, let's say you book a job. So these are all actual examples from our company, but I'll start a new one for you guys. So let's just say that you book a job on, this is for the month of April, because you'll see that all the jobs sold are in April. So on the 10th of April, you book a job with a guy by the name of Mark Clemens. You can put Mark's phone number here, the date that you sold it, which would be the date that you're actually inputting the information, which is 4/10, April 10th. And then you're going to put the total dollar amount that you actually sold the job for, and you're going to include tax in this number right here. So you'll see there's instructions here to include tax in parentheses. So you're going to include tax. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that it came out to $5,000 even. And that is the first thing. That's the first thing that you're going to input. So that is how you fill out the sales section. Now, when the job actually completes, you're going to have your production manager, your project manager, your foreman, or yourself, however your business is structured, fill out the remaining part, which is the production section, F to M, all the way over to right here, actually. So we use subcontractors for 100% of our work, and that's something that I would recommend that you guys look into, because it makes a lot more sense for a lot of different reasons. But if you don't do that, no problem. All you could, instead of subcontractor used here, the way that you could use this form is like your foreman's name. But since I'm used to doing business the way that we do it, I'm going to actually put in one of our subcontractors. So we'll use Eddie, one of our subcontractors. We're going to put in the number of men on the job. Now, the next couple columns here are going to allow you to see if your subcontractors or painters are performing up to normal expectations of a guy who's making between $15 and $25 an hour. And if they're not, you're going to want to look into getting new employees. So that's another really cool thing that this form does. So when you have your foreman or job site manager or your subcontractor out on site, the couple things that you're going to want to track are, when you talk to him every day, you're going to ask, hey, Eddie, how many guys do you have on the job today? And you're going to want to write this down in a notebook. And you'll just write the date and the number of guys that you have on the job. And then you're also going to want to track how many full 8-hour days they actually worked. So if they work for 4 hours one day and it starts raining, and then the next day they come back for another 4 hours, that's actually only one day that you're going to input into this form. So I keep track of actual hours and actual men on the job each day. And then you're going to come up with your averages at the end of the job. So let's just say that this job, Eddie had 2 guys on the job, and they were there for 5 days. So the next column here, it says, in column I, if you read the instructions right up here, or what the column is all about, requirements met with a question mark. And the requirements are only met if this column, column I, is equal or lower than column E. So that means $6,000 must be equal or lower to column E over here. And you can see that it's not. So you know that something happened with Eddie on this job, because usually his numbers, if you look back at his numbers here, in these 2 jobs, these numbers are equal to or lower than column E. And that means that Eddie is performing up to our standards of someone that's working for $15 to $25 an hour as a painter for our company. Now, this might not be a big deal if this happens once, but if it's a reoccurring theme, it means there's something to look into. If something's changed and for some reason you're most likely going to start getting customer complaints because the jobs are getting produced too slowly, or not within the budget that you're going to want them produced in, especially if you're paying guys hourly. With our subcontractors, we actually pay a set rate per job, so that's not why we track the number. We check it for productivity only. So I hope that's clear to you guys. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. Moving on to column J, we're going to just put the date that it was completed. So we'll put that this job was completed on the 22nd. And then we're going to put the method that they paid by. So the reason that we're going to do this is sometimes we get credit card payments, and that we actually get an additional little charge for that, and we don't want to forget to take that out. We don't want to forget to take that out of our profit at the end of the job. We get charged 3.5%. So let's just keep it simple and say that it was paid by check so we don't have to worry about anything, which we very rarely take credit card payments anyway, but that's one of the reasons that column K exists. If you guys do accept credit cards, then you're going to want to also account for the charges that your credit processing company is passing along to you, which is usually, like, at least by today's standards, 3.5%, in our case anyway. So the next number here that you're going to want to input is the total amount that was paid to your subcontractor, which for us, we agree ahead of time for labor and materials what it's going to be. They purchase materials and labor, and we give them a set price for that. Now, if you guys hire painters and have painters working for you, then part of your project manager's job is going to be to track their hours in that little book that we're talking about, and track how much money is going out towards labor and how much paint he's buying at the paint store. For us, we just delegate that whole responsibility to our subcontractor, and it makes tracking this cost really easy for us. So let's just say that we sub this job out for $2,300 even, and then column M gives us another metric for the percentage that we actually paid for labor and materials to our subcontractor. And our goal in our company is to subcontract for 50% or less in order to promote future growth of our company for our sales team and our production team, and for the growth of our business and our online presence. And that's another recommendation that I would give to you guys in like a whole nother conversation. But anyway, even if you have painters, this is another good metric to be able to see, because you want to be producing, even if you're hiring painters, at 50% or less, because if not, you're not able to grow your business, and your profit margins aren't going to be healthy enough to grow your business. So moving on to the marketing section. So the next thing that you're going to want to put in the marketing section is the lead source, because it's another good metric to track. So let's just say that Home Advisor is where we got this lead from, and if we look back over to the left here, what was our customer's name? Mark Clemens. So Mark Clemens came to us from Home Advisor. Now the next thing that we're going to want to put in the marketing section, if we scroll over here, let me get you guys in the center of the screen, is the lead cost. What this means is how much did this lead actually cost us. So Home Advisor right now costs us $67 per lead, which is a little bit expensive, but it really works for us. So that's how much the lead actually cost. And an example here, it might not cost you anything. Let's just say it was a referral. The point here is to track your numbers and see what's working, and whatever's working, double up on it, and whatever's not working, get rid of it. That's the whole thing with marketing. You got to track your results for a set period of time, and then whatever works, keep it, invest more money into it until you've maxed it out, and then whatever's not working for you guys, whatever you're spending money on, or like whatever's like the results are minimal, then you want to get rid of that and invest your time and your assets and your money into what's working, so you could double up on the good experiences and the good marketing streams. So spend since last job, column P, this is an important column. So when you have a job that was already completed, you want to look back to the last job that you finished and see how much money you've spent on all your marketing, which would be Home Advisor, Angie's List, Yelp, Painter Choice, job signs, anything that would be used to get new customers to call you. Anything. That's the most simple way to define marketing in the painting business. Anything that gets a new customer in front of your face or on the telephone calling you. So let's just say since the last job that we completed, we spent $547 on new marketing efforts. And then our overhead since the last job. So let's say our last job, let's actually take a look back here. So we completed this job on the 22nd, and our last job before that was the 21st. So this number may actually be off, the one that we were just discussing, because if it's only been one day since our last job, then maybe we only spent that $67 so for Home Advisor. So let's just change that back. All right, I hope you guys are following me there. But anyway, if we jump back here, you'll see that the job that we finished just before this was on the 21st. So it's only been a day since we finished our last job. So the way that we're going to determine our overhead, our spend since the last job completed, which is this job. So it's been one day, and our daily total for overhead is $255.29. So that's actually pretty simple. $255.29 is how much we've spent since the last time that we did a job. So if it had been 10 days, then you would take $255.29 and multiply it by 10 and put that number here. But since it's only been 1 day, it's pretty simple for us. We don't have to pull out a calculator or do anything. So right there, at this point, you have your profit out of this job. Column R, overhead, that's auto-generating. Remember, we showed you guys that that number comes from the information that you input down at the bottom left of this form, which are all your business expenses. And then taxes for an S Corp. The only tax that we're paying in our S Corp is the CBT tax, but that's taken care of down in that form also that I showed you, down in the bottom left expense form, the portion of this form. And sales tax is auto-generated. So the only tax that we're paying is CBT tax and sales tax, and that's auto-generated right here. So when you look all the way across, right here, this is your profit out of the job. After you've paid your subcontractor, you've paid all your expenses, and anything else that you might, might have going on. So as soon as your final check clears, you're safe to take out $1,989.07 without worrying about any of your bills coming due and the money not being there. So the only other recommendations that I would have for cash flow in your business is if you go back down to this form here, a couple things that you might want to put in here is like a winter savings plan. And maybe another thing, if you have like a production manager, sales manager, stuff like that, you're going to want to put in what they get paid every month, if they're paid a salary, or how much you want to put away for the winter each month. And those things will give you a little bit of a cushion. If you have people that are salary, or for me, I always overestimate. So if I have a production manager or a sales manager that isn't salary, I look at the best week that they ever had and I multiply it by 4. So I can put in their monthly expense. So let's say on this guy's best week ever, he made $1,200 with me. So 1,200 times 4 is going to be 4,800 a month. So that way I know I'm safe. I don't have to worry. Any money at the end of the year that is in excess, that it's all going to even out in the wash. So when work starts to slow down for us, we shut down in October in our painting business. All the extra money that I have left over, it's going to be like a really nice surprise, and it's going to let me have a good Christmas and like an easy winter. So for me, I always overestimate my expenses a little bit, just in case there's somewhere where I've kind of like goofed up a little. So I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope that you guys, if you do have any questions, that you'll ask, because from the time that I created this form and implemented this form into my business, I haven't had cash flow issues, and you can see why. It figures it out for you, and it lets you know what's safe. So if you guys have any questions, again, email me. Hope the video was helpful, and I hope that I'll see you guys. I'll see a purchase, and I'll be able to help you guys set this form up for your business. Along with the purchase of this form, we're gonna have to do like a 15-minute phone call to like kind of acclimate you guys to how this is actually gonna work and how to upload this into Google Forms, because this right now is a Microsoft Excel file. Google Forms is where I upload this so I can work on the road, and it's not hard to do. It takes a few minutes, but it's going to require like a little, 15, 20-minute phone call, something like that. All right, guys, I appreciate it, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.